have the best guest that we could have today, Hector Vergara. He represented Canada in 3 World Cups, and not just 3 World Cups, but 2 matches for 3rd place and a semi-final. And currently he's a FIFA instructor, FIFA assessor, and he's our guest today.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we're in the field. I think I saw most of you in the field. We have, the topic that we have today is, as you know, the laws of the game regarding offside have not changed over the last little while. But they have made a clarification when it comes down to deflection and deliberate play. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, but we're going to talk a little bit about that in relation to VAR as well. So what I'm going to do is start off with, if you guys can help me out, you're going to tell me the 3 types of offside. Quickly, come on. This should be a 1-minute exercise. Offside.
Interfering with player.
Huh?
Interfering with play.
Interfering with play. Great. Next one.
Interfering with an opponent.
Interfering with an opponent. Next one.
When someone swears at me.
Oh, that's not right.
Gain advantage.
Gain advantage. Okay. What are these are the 3 types of offside. What are the 3 or the concepts that fit under each one of those? And it's only one key word. What's the concept under interfering with play? Play, and what else? One word. Touch. Right? Player touches the ball or plays the ball, he's offside. What about this one? Interfering with an opponent. Yeah, what? Go ahead. What was it? Line of vision. Line of vision. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's quick eyes. Yeah, line of vision because Next one. Come on. There's 4 concepts under interfering with an opponent, and this is critical for us to understand the law. Sorry? Challenging the opponent for the ball. What else? Ability to play the ball. What's the other one? Distance. No. No. What does a player do when the ball goes by the head and swings the head and doesn't touch it? It's an attempt. Attempt to play. And action with impact is what you're talking about in PE. Okay. Gain advantage. What are the key words in gain advantage that whenever we hear this word, we should think about gaining advantage? What are those? Deflection, one. Another one? Position. Sorry? Position. No. When it hits the post and does what? Rebound. Rebound. Okay. What else? Deflection. What else? What does the goalkeeper do? Save the ball. Okay. And what's the other possibility for somebody to be outside after these things happen? They can play the ball. They can do what? Interfere with the opponent. And the exceptions are. What's the exception? Full score. No. What's the exception? The opponent has it. Has it how? Deliberate. With the foot or the body or with the hand. So we're going to focus on these words. Deliberate and deflection. That's what we're going to focus on in this presentation. Now, what's deliberate play? Compare deliberate play with deflection and with rebound. What are some of the, now we're talking about consideration. Remember I said there's types of offside, then I said concepts. The concept of deliberate play and deflection is the one we're going to focus on. What are the considerations to say that something is deliberate or something is deflection? Give me any.
Control the ball.
Control the ball. This is the latest one that has been brought in by FIFA and IFA. What's before that?
Intent to play.
Intent?
No, intent to play.
Attempt to play? Okay.
Reaction.
Reaction to be what? Deliberate play or deflection?
Reaction, deflection.
Deflection, okay. What else? Distance, okay, could be. Distance of what?
Basically the time the player has.
Okay, so the distance of the ball to the player, okay. What else? What else? Give me some, come on. What about this one? Action, a conscious action. When a player wants to play deliberately, he has to think about it. So it's a conscious process in the head to go play the ball. I have controlled my body in order to be able to control the ball. Controlling the ball to do one of 3 things. And this is the amendment that came in from IFA and FIFA. Control of the ball was not something we worried about before until last year when the clarification came out. And now we have to worry about control of the ball in respect to gaining possession of the ball. That means I can play it, it comes to me and I have it at my feet. Or I can pass it to a teammate, or I can clear it in a defensive way, out of the agent. So these are the three ways in which we kind of judge whether there's control or not control. We have to look at distance. Can the player see the ball coming? Do they have time to move their body in a position where they can actually play it? Do they have space? Are they charged by somebody else, challenged by someone else? Or are they alone? Okay? Direction of, somebody said direction before. Direction of the ball. Is it coming right at them or is it coming in an angle? What is it? The speed of the ball. How fast is it coming? And do I have options as a player? Can I play differently? Can I play with my chest? Can I play with my head? Can I play with my knee? Can I kick the ball? Do I do a football move? Or do I just stretch my leg because I can't get there on time? So these are all things that are considered concepts to consider deliberate play. Is the ball on the ground versus being in the air? Okay? Being in the air. In the sense that if the ball is rolling, it's much easier to play, correct? What about the ball in the air? The one that comes like a plane, the one that flies. Vroom, flies like a plane. And the player jumps. Could he have control of that ball? Maybe. More than likely? Probably not, because it's going to skim off his head. So if you don't have the body stretch and you're not really tall and the ball skims off your head, that's not going to be control. Different if the ball is coming down like the rain. How does the rain come down? Straight down, right? The rain doesn't fly like this. It's a really windy day in Ontario, maybe it comes this way, right? But it's still going to come down. So if the ball's going to land here, I have more probability of playing with control. Because I can move my body and position myself in a way where I control it with the chest, I control it with my knee, I control it with my leg. I can trap it, I can play it, like a football. I can't do that if the ball is flying at speed. So I always talk about this, the plane or the rain. What's the ball doing? The trajectory of the ball is important. We also say that back technique is also possible. That means that all these other things are possible for deliberate play, but if I play poorly, I play poorly. So if all these things fit in the category of deliberate play, and then I play it poorly, it's my fault. We don't excuse the player. The ball comes in the air, it's coming down like the rain, it's coming nice and easy, I have time, I look at it, I'm going to head it, I'm going to head it here, instead of going there, it goes over there. That's bad technique. That's the skilled part of deliberate play. Okay, so that was still deliberate play on my part, but I just did it poorly. Even if it went to someone who was in outside position.
Can I just ask you?
Sure. Any question?
When I'm instructing this piece. So balls, you're playing versus ring, right? So playing, it's coming at me, but I'm still jumping up to attempt or to try and control the ball. So I'm making a play at the ball. But you're saying if it does hit me, it's deliberate, right? It's deliberate play, but if it just skims my head, I'm allowing it to go.
So this is where FIFA said, by changing this law, or changing or adjusting, not changing the law, clarifying the law, a better word, clarifying the law, we're going to have these more subjective decisions, where there's going to be more incorrect decisions because people are not going to really understand what they mean. They knew it was going to happen. So that will all depend on whether I had time. Did I jump and I'm hitting the ball when I'm just at the end of my jump?
Right.
Or did I jump myself and I did it poorly, timed it badly, and therefore I played it badly? Sure. So it's never, my answer is never going to be black and white because you're going to have to watch a clip. And guess what? 12 clips are coming up.
Oh, okay. Good. Okay.
It's easy to talk, but I mean, let's see the clip. Let's see what we say with the clip. Okay. Let's go to deflection real fast. So in deflection, it's a reaction. It's an instinctive action. No player is ever going to let the ball go by. Never expect players not to do anything. If I put a ball at that door, I guarantee 100% that every single one of you, when you go up by that door, you're going to touch the ball. Why are you so attracted to it? Players in the field are used to playing with the ball. You're never, ever not going to try and do something. So when we have deflection, we have less options. The ball's unexpected. Sometimes we have no body control. Sometimes we're running backwards, and the ball comes, and we just do this. Because we're always going to do something, but we have no body control. And at the end, the most important thing that was been added now is that we have no control of the ball at the end. Very similar to rebound when it comes off the post, the crossbar, etc. no options, unexpected, no control of the body, no control of the ball, and many times we don't even move, it just hits us. So this, in a nutshell, is Law 11. 10 minutes. I can go home now. We're done. Not that easy. Okay, so before we go on to the clip, to talk about these things, I was asked to do a little bit of VAR discussion around the offside concept. So the VAR philosophy is, now more than anything, is the decision clearly wrong? People have changed this over the last couple of years in relation to before it used to be clear and obvious. What's clear and obvious? What's a clear and obvious error? I don't know. To you, clear and obvious to you is different than clear and obvious to her. So is a decision clearly wrong? And that's what we're going based on now. Plus a serious misconception. So, in relation to what though? It's not in decision clearly wrong in anything that happens in the game. That would be impossible. We'd be stopping the game every 2 minutes. So it's only in relation to what? Do you remember what it is? Critical incidents, okay. Any idea? Penalties, goals, red cards. There we go. Goals, no goal, penalty, no penalty, red card, or missed identity. Wrong player gets caution or yellow card. These are the 4 situations, the only 4 situations in which we can intervene with VAR. People think that it's everything, and people say, oh, how VAR doesn't fix that, VAR doesn't fix this. It's a goal kick instead of a corner kick. Why doesn't VAR intervene? No, it's not for everything. VAR is for only decisions that are clearly wrong that impact the game in this way in relation to these areas. Okay? So the basic principle behind it is using clear technical considerations when you're talking about VAR. If the field decision is correct, then there is no VAR intervention. And we want referees to make decisions on the field. We don't want referees to use VAR as the excuse to make the decision. If it's not clear, so it's not a clear error, we don't intervene either. Clear error, 100%, yes, we intervene. That's what we intervene. And related to offside, we have the line of intervention, which is also related to penalty kicks, handball, challenges, everything else. I did not put all of that here. This is not a VAR course in 5 minutes. It's impossible. When we do a VAR course, it's a whole week course. Every day, simulator, concepts, on the field practice. It's a long, long course. And it takes more than just one course. It takes games of practice in order for you to become certified as a VAR official. Okay? So it takes weeks and weeks in time. So this is just a very clear synopsis of what it is in relation to offside. So, offside is a geographical decision. Either you're in offside position or you're not. So whenever you're talking about a offside position which is factual, VAR does not have to do what we call an on-field review. On-field review means the referee goes to the monitor to see the images that the VAR is going to show the referee. And when the referee shows up at the monitor and starts to look here at the monitor and says to the VAR, the referee becomes the VAR on the monitor. Okay, so in this case, we use it for offside. We also use it for in, out of the penalty area, and use it for the ball in or out. If we have clear evidence, then VAR intervenes, but it does it as a factual intervention. It's not an on-field review intervention. You will see many games when the AR is not raising the flag. And when the VAR came out, and we used it in the World Cup in 2018 for the first time, I kept getting messages and phone calls about, why are the assistant referees in the World Cup so bad? That was a clear offside. Why did they not raise the flag? Right? Because there were lots of incidents where the assistant referee would just continue to run when it was offside, maybe by half a meter or a meter, and probably TV showed you that it was half a meter offside. The reason is because they're expected to delay the signal until the outcome of this situation is known. And they do that in tight offside decisions. They do that if the VAR is not sure if it's offside or not, and it leads to a goal scoring opportunity. And why? Because there's been proof that ARs are making sometimes mistakes. And if we raise the flag and the referee blows the whistle, we are stuck. We cannot go back. If a goal results, we're dead in the water as soon as the referee blew the whistle. We cannot intervene whatsoever. So we have to wait. So what you see now is assistant referees delay the flag. And they delay in this way. Sometimes when it's near midfield, there is no delay. Depending on, as we say, if the side is big as a house, then you raise a flag. But if it's not, and it's got the opportunity to attack into the penalty area, then you would delay. So you sometimes hear delay, 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 meaning I have offside as the assistant referee, but I'm not raising the flag until we find out whether there's a goal or a penalty or a dog zone in this situation. Okay? So this is how offside, this is a very quick recap of VAR into offside, gives you an idea of how we use it. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to look at some clips and have some discussion. So here we have a situation from 2018, and I want you to watch a clip on your screen there and tell me whether you think that was, whether that was a offside decision, good goal, no goal. What do you think? Who has, hands up, those of you who say this is offside? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13 people have offside. Okay, good. Let's look at the rest of the clip and listen what is going on. So the referee, assistant referee has offside. VAR is checking. So people are saying he's off. Okay, so we can agree that this guy is slightly offside, right? He's slightly offside. But watch the rest of the clip. Oh! Whoa! What happened? Why? Oh! Okay, so now let's think. So now we have to ask the question: is this deliberate play? Yes. Because if a deliberate play is done, then we reset offside. So now we go back to that list. Remember that list of considerations in the concept of deliberate play? So let's see which considerations that we talked about fit here. So what are some of the considerations? Control the ball to pass.
Yes.
What else?
Bad technique.
Bad technique, maybe? Okay. Control of what?
Body.
Of the body? Okay, good.
It's on the ground.
It's on the ground. What else? Distance.
Conscious action.
Conscious action. So all these considerations tells us this player, defending player, plays the ball in a deliberate way. And for VAR, see how many camera angles they're looking at? Now the camera angle is perfect. So you have to find the perfect angle with the cameras you have. That's part of the VAR job, is to find that angle. And this is the angle that tells. What did the referee ask? On-field review. He's asking the question, on-field review. Experienced referee knows what he's doing. Why does he ask on-field review?
He's asking if it's a subjective decision.
Because it's a subjective decision. It's not just about position. You need to interpret whether or not the defender plays in a deliberate way or not. Because the deflection is different. So who makes a determination now after all the evidence you see? The referee needs to make the decision because it's the referee's decision. So he goes to the monitor. So while the referee is wanting to be monitored, the VAR and AVAR are given the information, AVAR to the VAR, who then gives it to the referee about exactly what is it that he's going to see on the monitor. So that there's no wasting of any time.
I'm here.
Yeah, the number 8 of Germany is playing the ball through the legs. Continue, so we can see where the ball goes. Continue now, continue.
Give me a big view.
Okay, the main.
He wants to be open view as well.
Yeah. Okay, go. Look, number 8
Okay, how long did it take the referee to figure that out?
About 10 seconds, 15 seconds.
Pretty quick, eh? Pretty quick. But that's because the VAR prepared the right images for the referee to see it. Because if the VAR doesn't prepare the right images, then the referee's standing in front of the monitor for a minute. This is why it's important that the VAR does all of this before he gets there. So, that's an example of how VAR has assisted with offside. The important part about this is we're talking about deflection and deliberate play, right? So now we know considerations for the concept of deliberate play. Now, let's look at the next clip, and then tell me, and this, the voice is not important, tell me whether this is deflection or deliberate play. Play again. Sorry? Tell me whether this is deflection or deliberate play. Using the considerations, not your personal opinion. Go ahead.
She was falling backwards.
She was falling backwards. You don't control her body. No control of her body.
That's what you said earlier.
Okay, that's what I said earlier. She's blaming on me.
Yeah.
Anything, get in the stable, anything. What, give me another consideration that they haven't given us. It's a reaction, okay?
It's instinctive.
Misplay, but let's be careful, because if we say misplay, we say that the referee or the player actually couldn't play deliberately. We're talking about back technique. Is this back technique, or is this players falling back? What's she doing with the leg? Stretching. It's a terminology that's being used by IFAB nowadays. When you stretch your body, either in the air or on the ground, this can, if I'm at the end of my stretch and I touch the ball, I cannot have control of that ball. Impossible. Because I don't have time to move my foot in any way. I don't have control of the balance of the rest of my body to actually do something. I'm at the end of the stretch, I can't do anything anymore. Anything I do is uncontrolled.
We can't be expecting you to do nothing.
You can't expect her not to do nothing. Good. So, go ahead.
Like a rule of thumb, if they're stretching, it's usually deflection.
You could say that, but it's not 100% always.
Like a general rule.
General rule of thumb was pretty good. So we have all these components that tell us that this situation is not deliberate play, is different than the other one that we just saw where the player would deliberately kick the ball back. So this is now on the ground, but still a deflection.
That's a hard sell.
Why is it a hard sell?
Well, I mean, I'm just saying I understand the considerations, but it's also a hard sell.
Okay, so this is why I always, and will always tell you, when we have concepts like deliberate play, deflection, you need to always talk about considerations. Because people will say exactly what you said. This is a hard sell. It's a hard sell because you can't stomach it personally. Because in your personal opinion, that's too hard, that's too difficult. But if you use the considerations, you're using facts. Remember, 2007 we eliminated the interpretation about whether it's intentional or not intentional. We don't talk about intentional anymore. It came out of the laws of the game in 2007. Whether the intention was there or not is irrelevant. It's what actually happens. What actually happened. So in this case, what happened is she was falling and she stretched. Can she have control? No. But then it's deflection. Use a consideration.
Oh, 100%.
Use a consideration. Okay? Let's look at the next one. We have a few of them. So let's see this one. What's different about this? I'll go back. What's different about this? I'll go back again. Okay? So that player in white with the ball was in an offside position. Go ahead, give me a consideration. Somebody new, give me some consideration.
We just didn't see the full screen, but a deflection, sorry, she was in the offside position.
Okay, I'll give you the full screen. We'll give you the full screen in a minute here. There'll be a second replay. We'll give you the full screen. Okay, here's the full screen. So what do we see from here? Give me the consideration you're talking about.
Yes, so she's in an offside position.
Yeah, correct. Okay, offside position. What about the player in blue? The one that actually touches the ball. What do we say about her?
She's on the ground.
She's on the ground. Okay, good consideration. Another one?
Has time.
Has time. It's coming down more like rain rather than playing.
She's got space.
She's got space.
There's no intent to play.
Sorry?
She intended to play.
She intended to play. What tells you she intends to play? She turns, goes to the ball. What else does she do with her body? She sets herself up, and what does she do with her leg? Is it sticking it out, or is it putting it here to cushion the ball when it comes? Is this a football move or not?
Yes.
Do players play like this when they want to control the ball?
Yes.
So this is a football move. Is the ball in the ground or in the air? So now we have to be careful because it's in the air. But is it coming from enough distance and enough space for her to set herself up and be able to play the ball?
Yes.
It's totally played.
Does she have bad technique? Yes.
She has bad technique. So we cannot excuse the player when they have bad technique. But that's why you base yourself on considerations. Because all of the things that you said lead us to what? Lead us to what? Deliver play.
I just want to go back.
Yes?
You said the word intends to play, but yet you say not to use the word
Correct.
intention.
So good correction.
I
No,
know.
that's good. That's good. Excellent.
It's a conscious action.
The action is a conscious to play. It's a conscious action to try and control the ball.
Okay.
That's what you need to do.
So
And I shouldn't use the word
use
intent.
the word
Should not use
intent.
the word intent.
Okay.
It's what the action shows us. Okay? And we need to know football. We always say in all the considerations, in all the topics, we talk about football understanding. Football understanding is not a consideration in itself. Football understanding takes all of the other elements and wraps them together in a nice Christmas gift with a nice bow tie on top. Okay? That's what football understanding is. It's understanding tactics, understanding players, understanding how the game is played, understanding when a ball is coming fast, understanding when a ball is coming slow, etc., etc. That's all football understanding. It's not a consideration in itself. You cannot say that this is deliberate play because it's football understanding. No way. Awesome. Okay? So in this case, as you said, deliberate play. Now, we have a different clip. Not offside because of the deliberate. Now we have a play similar to that one, also in the air. So the question is, in this case, is this deliberate play or is this deflection? So what considerations are we going to use to analyze whether we have deflection or deliberate play? I want to hear from some people that have not said anything yet. Okay?
Stretching the legs, number one.
Okay, so they're stretching the legs, number one.
It's in the air.
Sorry? No control of what? Of the body, okay. Another one? Somebody else?
He's in a pretty unique position in the air. I mean,
Sorry, he's what?
he's not exactly in like a general playing position.
He's not in a playing position for that kind of action in the air. The air is very important in this situation. What else? The plane.
Yeah.
It's not coming down, it's actually flying away. And the player's trying to catch the plane and stop the plane. Can't happen. What else? Somebody said the word stretching. Can I control the ball when I stretch my body? Can I now at the end of it control the ball? Unlikely. Okay? So the considerations lead us to what? Deflection, not deliberate play. This situation 2 years ago at this World Cup, and even after in the teaching materials was what? Deliberate. Because at that moment it was all about the conscious action. About the fact that I ran distance, I saw the ball coming, I did this deliberate movement like this. But the concept that is now in the law, or in the interpretation of the law, is that what? We need what? Control of the ball. First the body, then control the ball. But we can have all of the body elements about control. If we don't have control of the ball, the first one's okay, but the second one's not there, so it cannot be delivered. So now it's both. We need both. Yes?
Is it relevant that he didn't really change the path of the ball? The ball was coming in long.
That's also another consideration, because when you're able to play it away, it will change direction. Okay? It will change direction. But mainly in the air and stretching your body will always, more or less, lead to a deflection. Next clip. Using the considerations again. How about this ball in the air? Is there a difference between this ball and the last one? And if there is a difference, what is the difference?
Change the path of the ball.
Sorry?
You change the path of the ball.
Change the path of the ball, okay, but before even that, before we even get to that part, go ahead.
Reaction time?
Reaction time?
Time to decide.
So he has time, okay, good, time and space, good. Somebody else here?
I was just saying range.
Rain versus plane, okay, good. What else?
He misplayed it.
Misplays it. So there's a misplay in the ball. Bad technique, correct. But what else about this? What do we see here other than space? He's got control.
He's controlling himself to play the ball.
He's setting himself up to play the ball. He's controlling his body movements. At the end, he does bad technique, but he has all of the elements to control the body movement, to go to the ball. He has time, he has space. The ball's in the air, but it's coming down. It's not going linear. Okay, it's not linear. The trajectory of the ball is not linear. It's coming down. More time to control. More options to control. Could he trap it? Could he chest it?
No.
Could he head it?
Yes. Yeah.
Could he clear it?
Unlikely.
With his head?
Well, he was trying to clear it across here. Wasn't he?
Yeah, he's trying to clear it.
He knows
Exactly where the other guy is. So he's got all of these elements that lead us to now what? Deflection or deliver play?
Can I ask a question on that?
Sure.
So, in the consideration, if the attacking player challenges him for the ball.
Oh my God, you looked at my clips. Can you wait?
Okay, sorry. Sorry.
You cheated. You came to my computer here before it started. Okay. So here's another clip from CPL. Again, talking about a ball in the air. The player on the far side is going to be in offside position. Let's just get to that point quick. Okay, that player that eventually gets the ball is in offside position. What is different about this clip versus the previous clip? What is the difference? What's the major difference?
The defender is challenged.
The offside, the player in the offside position plays the ball back to somebody else who scores.
Okay, but we're talking about deliberate versus deflection. Let's stay on that concept. What is the major difference between the last clip and this clip?
Stretch. The ball is played by the defender.
Okay. What was that? What was that? The ball is? Line drive. Boom. Linear. Flies like the plane. And what happens when the player jumps? Skims ahead. Because he did not time that accurately enough. He tried, but he couldn't. And even when he stretches his body, it skims ahead. So again, this is what we're talking about when the players are stretching the body, when the ball's in the air, and when they cannot have the time to control that ball, then we're talking about a deflection.
But did he have control of his body?
He might have, but he could not reach it. So when there's no reach, we have to go to the second element. You need control of the ball. You could be Superman, and you get up there, but you still don't have control of the ball, then it has to be a deflection. So this is the difference between what we talked about. The previous one looked like the rain coming down, easy to control, have options to play, to clear it, versus the one that's linear, like the plane, and don't have an option. Okay? 10 minutes. I'll do it when it works.
Take your time.
Here we have a similar situation in the air. What is the ball doing? What's the ball doing? Rain. Does the player have time?
Yes.
Does the player have space?
Yes.
Does the player track the ball? Is the player setting himself up to play the ball? Is he on the ground? Can he play with the chest, the head, the knee, whatever he wants? Okay? That's when he plays the ball. Is there a challenge for the ball? Is there a challenge by the other player, or is it just someone's nearby? There's a difference. Someone nearby or someone challenging for the ball? Is he jumping with him?
No.
Is he pushing him? Does he have a hand on him? So before you answer that question, I'll make you think a bit, and then we'll come back to it. Think about this one. Same idea. Same concept, ball's in the air, it's coming down, he sees it, but what happens?
There's a contact potential as a player.
So in this situation, we have the ball in the air like the other one, with the players in offside position, coming down like the rain, he has time to see it, he goes to it, he runs to it, but at the moment he goes to play it, it's a challenge. So is he able to play it properly this way?
No.
Can he decide what to do with the ball when he's being challenged in this fashion? So there's a difference between, let me ask you this, is there a deliberate action by the defender? There's a deliberate action by the defender.
Yes.
Yes, what's the deliberate action?
To
To try and play the ball. Is there a deliberate play by the defender? No. That's the difference. There is deliberate movements, deliberate action, but there is no deliberate play. Because to have a deliberate play, we need control of the ball. And because the player is being challenged, there is no control. So if we go back to the previous clip, and I'll come back to it in a second. Okay. Compare the two. In this situation, the ball's in the air, come down just like the other one, but there is no challenge on the player when he heads and plays the ball. There is no challenge. The other player is on his feet, 2 meters away, and is not challenging the player for the ball. So in this case, we don't have a deflection, we have a what? Deliberate play. Compared to here, we have what here? Deflection. Because of the challenge that does not allow for the player to play in a deliberate way. You have a question?
Yes. The player in the offset position
Yes.
in this video is not interfering with anything. Like
correct.
Opponent getting advantage, whatever. The other player that's in an onside position is interfering, like
Challenging.
Okay, challenging.
Yes.
With the defender headering the ball.
Yes.
Wouldn't it be that a new phase of play?
Correct. But the new phase will start if we said what?
If he has control.
If he has a play what? Deflection or deliberate play?
Deliberate play.
The new phase of play starts, as you said, with a deliberate play.
Okay.
But if we say a deflection, then the player in the offside position is gaining an advantage from his position when he comes off the deflection. And that's why it's offside.
So if
remember our little chart at the beginning?
Yes.
So we said what types of offsides, and then we came to gain an advantage, and we said rebound, deflection. If it's deflection, if you say the word deflection, it comes out of your mouth, you're talking about gaining an advantage. This player in the outside position here gains an advantage from the deflection because of the challenge. If it was no challenge, it might have been deliberate play, and this player would have been okay. Does it explain the difference?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
So you have comps, of course you have comps, and they'll be saying waiting, and the number. No comms, referee has to make a decision, right? Because ultimately the AR won't be out there.
So one of the things that we need to teach, for those of you who are instructor or assessors, what you need to teach now is that the referee has a very, very important role in offside decision. It is no longer just the responsibility of the assistant referee. Because exactly what you're talking about. There are times where the assistant referee will not be able to see whether or not there was a challenge. May not be able to see whether the play was deliberate or not, because may not be able to see the actions of the player running. The assistant referee may be focusing on the second last offender and the attacker, second last offender and attacker, and therefore may not be able to see all the actions that is happening when something comes in, like a ball like this one, for example, where there's a challenge. So yes, you're absolutely right. Referees, and we need to teach this, referees need to ensure that they're putting attention to offside situations, because it cannot be just left to the assistant referee anymore. Okay? It's one of the parts that we have to emphasize going forward. Good question. Here we go from the recent World Cup. So this one, the player who's coming back is coming back from an offside position. Okay? We're just going to watch whether or not this is a deliberate play and shouldn't have been called offside, or whether this is a deflection, in which case it should have been called offside. this moment, this player that's in the screen there, at the penalty mark, is coming back from an offside position. When the ball is headed, he's in an offside position. The question is this here a deliberate play by the player in orange? Why not? Why not? What? Because of the challenge. Because of the challenge. Sometimes when we talk about the considerations, there is one consideration that trumps everything else. And you don't have to look for all of them to say, oh, this is deliberate or this is deflection. We have a clear consideration that has a huge impact on the decision. That's the consideration we use. We just talked about the fact that this ball is in the air. In other examples before this one, we just said, ball in the air, it's coming down like the rain, but there's a challenge. And because of the challenge, it cannot be deliberate play anymore. Because the player is impacted by having the arm on the back, the contact, that doesn't allow the player to play deliberate play. This one, really interesting. For this one, I'm going to put the volume. 1 second. I'm sorry that it's in Portuguese. But we'll just watch it quickly to see the decision at the end. This is, again, another situation. I want to kind of close a little bit this in a couple of clips, but this is another situation of VAR. So originally, they're giving a goal. Originally, they're giving a goal. Beautiful goal. However, what's happening now, and I can tell you because I have this clip in English, but just to tell you why I don't have this clip here. FIFA now has using a platform called RED, R-E-D, Referee Education Development. Everything FIFA does now is in the red. The unfortunate situation with that is that you cannot pull out any clip. You would have to essentially play the clip on your screen and copy every clip ever done in order for you to have it on your computer. You cannot do it anymore. And FIFA does that for property rights, and et cetera, whatever. And because they want to control a little bit of the material that is actually being seen out there. And red will be available, in some cases, some material will be available for anyone in the world, including my grandma, right? This passed away many years ago. She didn't go see it, right? So at the end of the day, we don't have access to all that. So now we have to find other avenues. So I found this in Portuguese, but anyways. Let me just show you this. So what these guys are doing is that originally they said, check complete, good goal. And then they realized that, oh no, wait a minute, we want to see something. So now they're going back and they send the referee for VAR on field review. Why on field review? Another subjective decision. It's not about whether the player was in an offside position or not. That will not be argued. The question is whether or not, here's the player. You can see the player when the ball's passed by a teammate, he's clearly in an offside position. The question is whether or not there is a deliberate play or a deflection by the teammate impacting the defender. So the defender deliberately plays it, or is it a deflection? And use the considerations to come to your decision. What's the question? He gets challenged.
Yeah.
So because he gets challenged, Griezmann, who was in an offside position at the moment the ball was passed by his teammate, gains an advantage from his offside position when it comes of the deflection. This clip took about 3 minutes in the World Cup because they needed to get it right. And they disallowed the goal because at that moment, this is the moment when Griezmann's in offside position, and immediately after the ball comes in, this is when the challenge happens. So when this player in the white jersey plays the ball, he's not able to play with control. He may have some control of his body, some control of his movements, he may have see it may be rain, he has time, space, but the challenge creates a problem.
Because at the end of the day, he just didn't have the ability to make a play.
Correct, because of the challenge. The main consideration to lead us to a deflection. So the goal is disallowed correctly for offside being an advantage. Let me ask you guys a quick question real fast. Tell me whether this is a deliberate play or a deflection. It's a discussion clip, but I'm going to be very fast with it. You guys are going to tell me. For ladies. Go back to that image. Is this a deliberate play by the defender or not? Does he play with a football technique? Control of the body, time and space, goes to the ball, and clears the ball. How does player clear the ball to a corner kick? What would you say about his defending ability? Awesome. Applaud him. Unfortunately, it went to a player that was in an offside position. But that's not to say whether or not it's deliberate play or not. It's not because he was in an offside position. It looks ugly, but all the actions of this player are deliberate. What about this one? Last one. Deliberate or deflection? Who has, close your eyes, last exercise of the day, close your eyes, everybody close your eyes, repeat the image in your mind, just like you do in your system. I want a hand up if you think this is offside, which should be a deflection. Hand up. Hands down, those who say that this is deliberate play. Nice and high. Nice and high. And I want you to open your eyes with your hands up in the air and look around on your table. And we have an explanation here coming, and Johnny's going to give us an explanation. Johnny, why is it? Johnny, why is it deliberate play?
The fact that I'm licensed to hand out cards, I can comment. Can I phone a friend?
Your thought, just quick thought.
I thought it was intentional. I thought he actually had some
avoid intent.
Avoid intent. Avoid intent. Okay, so who else had? You had and down.
He had time to make the play.
You had time to make the play. Okay, so who's got you have arm up. Give him the considerations to debate. He said he had time to make the play. What do you say to him?
But he stretched out and he had no control of his body.
He couldn't make a final play.
Because of the
stretch.
The stretch. So all the other considerations are good. He's got time. He's got space. The ball's on the ground. But he has to stretch his body to try and make a play. When he stretches the body in that sense, it's impossible for him to control the ball. So, final decision in this clip? Offside. Offside for deflection, gaining advantage.
Yeah.
Yes.
In terms of control of the play and control of the body, I think we're making an assumption that he doesn't know that that play is there. Because it could be the case that he's stretching, but actually that stretch is a pass.
Could be, but at the end of the day, even if he's doing that, what is this player doing?
Yeah.
Right? So he's challenging for the ball from an outside position, gaining advantage.
So if that attacker would not be challenging for the ball, then
no, because you still go back to this. Again, keep it. One of the things we always say: keep it simple. Keep it simple. If the considerations tell you that this player is stretching, can't control the ball, then anyone that tries to play the ball after this who is in outside position is offside. Simple. Keep it simple. Don't find excuses to save the player. Okay? Don't find excuses to save the player. That's my comment. Questions?
Very, very quickly. The right foot one. Marcus Radford from
Manchester City.
There's been a huge debate about this clip. 50% of the people say this is offside. But you find not offside.
I get more phone calls on that one.
Yeah. And people are now saying that it's offside because of the impact on the goalkeeper. And I have a hard time believing that, but it's a very divided clip. So when we have this situation of divided clips, we don't even use them in training. We don't use it because they're going to happen. They're going to happen. There are situations where you just can't explain one way or the other way. I can have arguments for offside, and I can have arguments for deliberate play, and not offside. So at the end of the day, sometimes, this is what FIFA says, and IFAB says, that sometimes we're going to have a little bit of discrepancies in some of these situations, whether or not it's deliberate, not deliberate, and things like that. But I think most of the time we're going to eliminate errors. So there'll be some discrepancy, but we'll eliminate errors.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you very much for your time.